My name is Chris Principe. I'm from Financial IT, and I'm here with Joel and Digby from China Systems.
Morning, Chris. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting China Systems to have this opportunity to introduce ourselves at this fantastic exhibition. As you know, we're taking part in Sibos every year. China Systems, one of the leading market companies in trade and supply chain finance. This year, we're actually focusing on a number of things while we're here. Introducing our new solution in the compliance side. Yesterday, you probably noticed a press release. We've developed a new solution in partnership with Acuity to offer a solution to banks to actually make, in fact, all the activities you have to perform in the compliance area to make it as painless as possible to them. So that's something that we're showcasing here. Another big area in our business that we're currently focusing is on the expansion of our supply chain finance portfolio, especially on the supplier-centric side of the business, asset-based lending, warehouse finance, inventory finance. So those are currently the key areas that we, from a business point of view, we're focusing on. And we hope to get the opportunity to share that information with as many visitors as possible. Thank you.
Joel, that was really interesting, and you know, myself as an old trade and supply chain finance guy, it was very interesting to see your focus, especially on the supplier side of the model, which I think a lot of the other solutions have really not focused on at all. Tell us specifically, you know, how are you going to use this new solution to solve some of the issues in the market?
Okay, well, you're right. In terms of our initial focus, and I think like with most vendors and also the banks, the low-hanging fruit on the supply chain finance side, it is indeed the reverse factoring. Not many people like the term, or supplier finance or approved payables financing, because it's often easy, the buyer-centric model, it's easier to implement. And that's obviously what we focused on as well in our solution range. But I think if you look at Asia, you know, in terms of, we have a lot of customers in Asia, of course, all the export-driven markets. You have to, there's a lot of SMEs out there. You have to provide solutions to SMEs as well. So you also have to support supplier-centric based finance, and that's where typically factoring, which is already in our portfolio. For us, it was quite easy to expand on that. Invoice discounting, of course, which is related to the factoring, but now a slightly more complex from a technical point of view is, of course, the asset-based lending. Where we're getting involved in inventory, warehouse financing, where you have some challenges in terms of collateral revaluation. But these things are getting quite big in Asia for us.
Joel, I really found that response quite interesting. And you know, you and I have talked in the past. One of the things that I've always liked to focus on is the SMEs, and the approach of making financing for the SMEs a little bit easier from the bank's perspective to do. I think is really going to be important going forward. So I'm going to switch right now to Digby, and what I really want to find out from you, Digby, is what are the things we should be looking forward to after Sibos? What are the trends that you see in the industry?
Okay, the obvious trend, and it's very popular at Sibos here, is the blockchain. It's come out of the Bitcoin technology, tracing a currency, but we've got nothing to do with Bitcoin. It's purely using the concept of traceability and applying that to a trade transaction. It's a hot item, and I guess you could say it's trade but not as we know it. Yeah, it's going to change the way we track what happens with the buyer and the seller, what happens with the goods, and what happens with the compliance. We're entering a proof of concept at the moment with the development bank, so aimed at the SME market. Yeah, and it will bring financing to the lower levels. It's with an African development bank. The supply chain is between Taiwan and Africa. It has a green attribute, so it's solar panels, wind turbines, etc. And it will weigh the container at the source, which is a new requirement for compliance going forward in July 2016. A couple of ships actually sank because containers were too heavy. So that will be part of the blockchain on exactly what the container weighed, what was in it. And we see that as a trend going forward. It is early days, but it will prove that there is options for this type of technology in our trade cycle.
Digby, thank you for that. I mean, the takeaway for me on that is blockchain. While yes, everybody thinks the Bitcoin, cyber currency, but the application in trade is real. I believe it's doable. You guys are out there leading the pack on it, and the compliance factor being a key issue in there, and your solutions addressing that. Very interesting for me. I'm really going to be looking forward and watching you guys in the future. So, Joel, Digby, thank you very much for spending some time with me and Financial IT, and wish you guys a very strong Sibos.